real quick, I'm about to say that we're gonna talk about School Spirits, season 3, episode 8, the season final, but I accidentally said Yellow Jackets. It's just, I guess, always on the mind, so that's my bad. But I also keep saying Xander instead of Xavier, so sorry. Hello, my name is Justin, and today I'm going to talk about the season final of Yellow Jackets. Can't believe we're finally here. This episode is called Dawn of the Dead. Love that. So I'm actually going to do this differently. Well, I guess not too different. I've done it before, but I think with episodes like these, it's easier because people are more kind of separated. Whereas I feel like in other episodes, they've been really combined and it's hard to separate each storyline because they all are consistently intertwining. So I actually want to start at the school and with the living characters because I think that the ghost stuff and what's on the other side of the door is a lot more interesting, and I really want to talk about that. So, in real life, Maddie's body is walking down a road, and a car honks and swerves before picking her up. Immediately, I'm like, oh, cool, so Maddie's getting kidnapped. First, she's body snatched, now she's getting kidnapped. What can't this girl, go through? But we go to the school, and Martin, Quinn, Rhonda, Charlie, and Yuri watch as the meeting is being set up to decide if the school should be shut down. Charlie is upset because the whole Wally thing was a betrayal. Yuri was like, how do we even know that it works? How do we even know that he is with Simon right now? And Martin was like, we don't. And Rhonda is kind of pissed. She's like, so we just have to sit here worrying when, the clock is ticking. And Martin is like, hope is not lost. There's still a chance this could very much go our way today. And I'm like, I'm surprised it actually did. Oh, okay, I'll get there. So Xavier, Claire, and Nicole try to prep the principal to confront Jennifer about her getting a cut of getting the school demolished. He keeps messing up because they've been going at it all night. They decide, though, that they're going to record confrontation with him and Jennifer and give it to Xavier's dad. This is when Nicole gets a call from Livia, and I'm like, oh, great. What does she want? And she was actually the one to pick up Maddie, and I'm like, okay, for fuck's sake. I never thought I would be happy for Livia to be doing something, but Nicole's like, fuck, okay. Well, actually, because Livia was like, I'm gonna take her to the ER because she's like in a trance, and Nicole's like, don't do that. And I'm like, yeah, Livia, don't do that. That is what are they gonna do? Look at a vacant body and like evaluate that? Like, I don't even know what, she would probably end up in like a mental hospital, honestly. Yeah, so Nicole sends Xavier to go check on Maddie because they don't want her to go through the ER. So at the hospital, Livia asks what's wrong with Maddie, and Xavier says she's just exhausted and that she's been like that for a while. And I don't know if it was just me, but I felt like there was a lot of tension between Livia and Xander, in a good way though, in a, oh, are they gonna be a thing next season? Because I could see that, because Xavier gets up and is like, Livia, I just wanted to thank you a lot, you really, it's really genuine and nice of you to be doing this. And she's like, I know you might not think I care, but I do, and it was the right thing to do. And I'm like, period, go off. I really want them to become a thing next season. I think that would be very cute. So Dave, Maddie's dad, says that he asked, this happened before, with Xavier saying yes, but never this long. As Maddie's body starts to get up, Dave thinks they need to keep her going as she's technically an empty vessel. And I'm like, what? What kind of fuck shit is this? Okay, when we found out about Janet, it felt like a very rare occurrence. It seems like everybody and anyone could just body snatch at any moment. Like, that's really scary. um but Dave tells Xander, he's like, we gotta godfather her. And me and Xander are like, what the fuck does that mean? And Dave is like, great, like, I'm old now. And they decide to keep her walking around so that she's not sitting too long and like gets possessed. But yeah, I also haven't seen The Godfather. I probably would like it. I should watch it. So Jennifer Tilly comes to the school and she pushes the principal out of the way when he was trying to confront her. She says she's going to get what she wants today. So Claire and Nicole at the meeting talk about Maddie. Then they talk about confronting Jennifer in front of everyone. The meeting tries to talk about other stuff first, but Jennifer gets up and riles them up to, keep the progress going. Like, let's keep it going. And Claire and Nicole protest that the other side gets to speak as well. And the board is like, well, yeah, like, it's only fair. Like, they should be able to have their say. Like, we're not going to immediately go to shutting down the school. Like, come on, Jennifer. And the board was like, yeah, like, what about public comments? And Jennifer was like, fuck public comments. And Claire says, she gets up and she's like, we have a very compelling argument, and that they have questions about what she's planning to do with the site after demolition, and that Jennifer has a very special interest in that. That makes Jennifer shut up and sit down. Iconic queen shit on both their parts. Nicole gets a call from Maddie's mom about where Maddie is. Nicole immediately is like, yeah, she's good. She's like with us. We're like hanging out, painting each other's nails, braiding each other's hair. And Sandra is like, look, Maddie told me everything. You can tell me the truth. I need to know where she's at. Like, and like, she told me everything the other night. Like, I know about ghosts. Like, I'm like, just tell me. And Nicole, like, I love it, like, in her face where she like has that second where she's like, oh fuck, okay. She's at the hospital with her dad. And Sandra kind of like has this moment where she's like her whole world is twisted. Oh my god, like, Sandra, like, just gets out of recovery and is hit with all this bullshit. Damn. So Claire and Nicole, after the phone call, go up and announce that Jennifer is destroying the school for her own gain. Then they look at her, but she's gone. Holy shit. Charlie and Yuri go down to the boiler room. Charlie is trying to hold space for Yuri's feelings. And he's like, look, I like, because they had a conversation a couple episodes ago where Yuri was just saying that he feels suffocated by Charlie's like explosive feelings about things. And I really do appreciate that they're showing relationship stuff with these gay characters, because I feel like a lot of time, like, we just see like the good in gay characters, and it's like, I'm glad that there's actually like problems that they need to work on and that are very real to being in a gay relationship. I mean, it's for being in any relationship, but I think it's really good to see gay representation of them being in a healthy relationship, with Charlie accepting that Yuri also needs space for his feelings and is holding that for him. And Yuri tells him that he is trying to open up. It's just, it takes a bit longer for him. And Charlie was like, okay, no, that's fine. Can you just please promise me that if we like disappear and like we can't speak any words, like we're gone, can we somehow figure out how to like hold hands? And Yuri's like, I think there's a couple things we can do without holding hands. And then they go to kiss when Charlie like has a second and he like looks grossed out, and Yuri's like, sorry. And Charlie's like, no, like, I smell something. Do you smell that? And they see gasoline on the ground in the boiler room. So they go upstairs to find Rhonda and Quinn when Jennifer moves out of the way and tells them to watch where they're going. Charlie immediately clocks it, and she overhears turning around to view her holding the gold ruby ring. Hello? So, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this body snatching shit seems so easy. I literally, like, with Janet, it seemed like a one and done thing. I could not imagine it being, like, this easy. Like, what do you mean that Jennifer is now possessed by Van Height? But I think something that is interesting about that is it had to be at the hospital the night when Olivia broke Jennifer's spirit, right? Because she like walked away from her and Jennifer was like really upset. On top of like not getting the deal and all that stuff. So I'm just curious, like, was it at the hospital and was it Van Height that whole day at the school? So Xavier and Maddie's dad, Dave, are sitting in an empty room in the hospital because Dave wanted to, first of all, keep her moving so no one could possess her. And I think he also just wanted to sit in a secluded room so he can, like, watch out to see if any fucking ghosts are coming to, like, possess his daughter. And this is when Sandra, Maddie's mom, comes in and, you know, she's questioning, like, what's wrong with Maddie? And Xavier says that they think that she's safe, and immediately Sandra clocks that he said they, and Xavier tells her that Dave is there too. Sandra looks broken, right? And Xavier says that they think she's trapped. Maybe she went too far, and he says that she saw the door in her vision. Sandra, although she can't see him, looks at Dave and tells him to go find her. He tells Xavier to tell her that he knows what to do. Period. So back at the school, the ghosts are in the principal's office looking at the computer, the cameras on the computer, and because they immediately clock that Jennifer is now possessed by Van Height, and Charlie calls her an off-brand Elvira. Love that. So stupid. I love that. They're now trying to see what she's doing, and she's stacking chairs on tables in the cafeteria, which happens to be right below the library. Then they see that she lights a match and throws it on the table, and it lights a blaze. It starts a fire. So the ghosts run to the library and check on the doors, but they're chain locked. Everyone is going to die and the ghost will be trapped. That's like, you know, their immediate thoughts. And they realize that they can't even warn them if they were able to. And Martin says they do actually, and to use the pool to get to the library and hope they can break the veil and warn them. I never thought of it as a pool. I always just thought it was like a magic hole in the ground and it was like a portal. But as Quinn, Rhonda, and Martin are going down to the hellhole, Charlie and Yuri are told to somehow handle the fire and stop Jennifer. Jennifer, by the way, is losing it. She's going down halls and smashing stuff with a bat, specifically fire alarms. So the school is actively smoking and burning. Charlie and Yuri are trying to throw water on the fire, and it's not working because they're ghosts. And Yuri was like, but if we go through a scar, we can make sure it doesn't get reset. I understand where they're going with this. So they decide to go through Charlie's scar. And when they are in there, they go through the scar, and all of Charlie's bullies are trying to fuck with him, and love to see it. Charlie is telling them to back off. He is prime Charlie this season. Let me tell you, like, he is becoming more of himself, and I love that for him. And they realize that, like, the smoke is starting to come through Charlie's scar, and, you know, that's not good. Like, what does that mean, you know? So Rhonda, Quinn, and Martin go down to the hellhole, and Rhonda wonders if they should just jump into the pool, you know, like, how does this work? Martin is off doing something else, though. He's looking for Ralph. Martin realized Ralph can control the water. he had been transporting them because he knew that something bad was going to happen. And if he can't save people, he's trying to use the ghost to warn them. And Martin clocks that uh, it was Ralph who brought Martin up to the bus and caused the crash. And Martin was like, are you trying to like punish me? Like, I'm sorry. Like, I feel really bad. I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I was a child. And Ralph shakes his head. He's definitely not trying to say that. And Rhonda clocks that, hey, like, I think he was bringing you to the bus because you couldn't stop it just like him, but you could be there for the team that will now be Ghost, you know? And he says, sure, great, you know, but I did leave Ralph, and he's like he's having a hard time with that. Martin asks his Ralph to get them to the library. Ralph nods and points to the water. Martin realized that, you know, he left Ralph alone for almost 90 years. And Rhonda was like, but he wasn't alone, because White Eyes comes out and Ralph runs over to him. And we realize that they've been there for each other. But White Eyes pushes Martin out of the way as this like wooden log falls from the ceiling and hits White Eyes on the head, making him fall. Ralph is over there cradling him as the whole scar is falling apart. And Rhonda and Quinn are like, come on, like, let's go to the library. And Martin's like, I'm gonna stay with my friend, okay? But you guys need to go. And so they go. We hear the splashes. They're going. And we see a white light in the figure of White Eyes. And we'll get to that a little bit later. In the library, Quinn and Rhonda fall through. Quinn tells what Jennifer did and that they are in danger. But everyone is in shock until Rhonda says to get the fuck out now. Everyone is freaking out. The principal calls the fire department. Yuri and Charlie try to put out the fire. Yuri tells him he loves him, and Charlie tells him he loves him too, after saying he has horrible timing. So Maddie wakes up. We'll get to that. But Xavier gets a call from Nicole, and him and Maddie run to the school. They run into Jennifer. I have her written down as Jennifer Van Hyte. And I'm about to go on this whole monologue, okay? Because I wrote down every single word about it. Because something about it, like, was iconic. Van Hyte says it's best for them to let him by. And Maddie says, after everything you've done, do you know how many people you hurt? What you started here? And so it's intertwined between the actor who plays Van Hyte and Jennifer Tilly saying this. Love that. And he says, for the love of God, I've been going for almost a century, doing what I want, going where I please, with no one questioning or interfering. What is he supposed to do? Give it all up? Start from scratch? Very Jill Roberts of him. You already forced me to get rid of what have become a very useful body. It was working well for me, and now you want to force me to take drastic measures. All I've done is survive. I'm gonna keep on doing it until I'm damn well ready to stop. Xavier calls him a coward, and he chuckles. Perhaps when you're a little older, you'll understand it's only the brave who fight and claw and kill their way out. And as for what you think I've done, I promise I'd do it again and again without a single thought. He called the school an error and a reminder that he failed. He can't wait to see it buried beneath 1,000 tons of dirt, along with that lousy infested church. Like bars, like, Jesus Christ, like, he's like going hard on these two. And he goes, if you stand in my way, I will make you regret it. I will find you and everyone you love, and I will bury them so far below this world that they will forget what the sun even looks like. You will stop me? How do you plan on doing that? And this is when Simon bashes her over the head with a fire extinguisher. So, yes, Simon is back, but we'll get to how that happened in a second. Maddie and Simon finally hug, like, after so long. I don't know, I can't remember, like, the time span. I'm pretty sure they're in the same school year. But, Maddie was a ghost, and then when she got her body back, Simon was in the ghost world. So, this is finally their time to actually be able to hug, and I think that is awesome. But in the smoke, as firefighters are starting to come into the school, we see Van Height's figure. That sneaky son of a bitch. Ooh. Okay. I think it's Claire and Nicole question what they're gonna do, um, with Deb's body, and what did he do with the real one. Maddie says she doesn't know, but she has a bad feeling about it. And it's like, girl, this isn't Jennifer's first franchise. Back and forth bodies, let me tell you. Maddie talks to the other ghost. She tells them about the door and that she had to leave the others. She says she'll see them in a few days as the school will probably be shut down. And Rhonda says they're not going to go anywhere, even if they tried. Maddie's mom calls for her and she goes. Yuri goes to get a joint and Charlie tells him to use the shortcut. Charlie questions if Martin is still in the school, and Rhonda says that they plan to check. Yuri is able to step onto the street. They are now able to leave the school because they broke the veil. So I'm really excited to see Rhonda and Charlie like hanging out in Maddie's house and just like she doesn't even have to be at school to see them. I'm so excited for that. So we cut to about 3 days later. Simon and Maddie talk horror movies. When she sees a jock that for a second is Wally, but it immediately shifts and it's not him. And Simon says that there's a lot undone, but for now, let's just do something as simple as watch a movie. And they watch Night of the Living Dead. So it's actually the next day or a couple days later, but that's fine. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the forest, the enchanted forest of it all. So in the beginning of the episode, Maddie enters this enchanted forest and it has mirrors and doors just everywhere. Immediately, I'm like, love this. It's very fairy tale. I want to be in there, even though we find out it's not the safest. But I mean, it looks fun. Like, it looks peaceful. So Maddie's just walking around. It's, there's a bunch of trees. It's very foggy. And I think I know she's just looking for Simon, but she's just looking around. And this is when she's tackled by Dawn. And I was so excited to see Dawn. And Dawn was telling Maddie that she's happy to see her. And I'm like, no, Dawn, I'm happy to see you, And Maddie asks her if she's seen Simon. And Dawn says no, and that she was surprised to see Maddie since she made it back to her life. And Maddie was like, how do you know that? And Dawn was like, oh, because of Janet. Oh my god. So immediately I'm like, oh my god, we're going to see Janet again. Okay, I'm so excited. And Maddie's like, oh, so if Janet's here, then Dawn, have you seen Wally? And Dawn's like, no, I haven't seen Wally. We've seen a few people, but hardly. And Maddie says he has to be here. And Dawn, a little worried, was like, okay, well, I'll help you, but we need to be careful. This place isn't what we're used to. And that it didn't make sense. We then cut to Wally, who is in the enchanted forest, and he's looking for Simon when he stumbles across a rearview mirror that traps him in a memory. So Maddie tells Dawn that she's seen a very bad person take a door here, and Dawn is like, oh, is he also looking for Simon? And this is when Maddie stumbles across some bandages that Simon had on his arm, and he put a branch. So we then cut to Simon, and he's walking around when he stumbles across Janet, and he wonders who she is, and Janet's like, Simon, it's me, it's Janet, and um, she's like, how did you get here? And she goes to touch him, but he like flinches away, and then he runs away. Maddie asks Dawn if she hears that, and Dawn says yes, then says someone is stuck. Maddie is like, stuck? Like, what do you mean? They then run to save Wally. Wally's memory is of him in high school, and he like forgets what he was worried about. And I think this is so interesting because it makes you wonder, like, am I just trapped in a memory? You know, because like he comes across a mirror in his memory, and that's where he can see Dawn, who tells him to get out. And it's only when he hears Maddie um, does he get out. Because I think, like, even though he might not remember her in that second or in that moment, he can still feel that somewhere deep down she's important to him. So I think that's why, because of Maddie, he broke through. So when he breaks through, um, him and Maddie hug and kiss, and it is so beautiful because this whole season, I've noticed Wally go to touch Maddie and he can't. Like, he's very inches away from her because he doesn't want to be disappointed from not being able to. So I think being like inches away is still being like, I wish I could, but I'm not going to because I'll be disappointed that I can't. Whereas now, since they're both in this afterlife, like they crossed over, Maddie's still alive, it's fine. They are able to hug and kiss, and it's very beautiful. So Maddie picks up the rear view mirror, and Dawn like smacks it out of her hand and tells her not to look at it or cross the river. This is when we go back to Janet, and Janet is trying to help Simon. He asks her the same thing White Eyes asked him, and it was, do you know who I am? She's like, yes, of course I do. And she questions if he doesn't know who he is, and he nods before walking away. So Simon is on the chase, or on the run again, and Janet is chasing after him. Wally, Maddie, and Dawn are still walking and looking for Simon. They hear Janet, who's calling out to Simon to come back, and they stumble across her and him at the river. Janet is taken aback by Maddie being there, but she then catches everyone up on Simon. Maddie calls out to him. They notice across the river is his birth mom, and he asks Maddie, do you know who I am? Before starting to walk to his mom. Maddie runs to grab him. Janet says it's dangerous, but she does it anyways. I was like, are they gonna get snatched? Is this like the end of the episode? What's going on? And they walk out. They're fine. Maddie is telling Simon who he is before they get trapped in their own reflection in a puddle. So it's like, it doesn't even have to be a mirror. A puddle can put you into that memory, which is insane. Like I said before, imagine your whole existence is just a memory and you're stuck in a reflection. This show's a trip, let me tell you. So in both their memories, they're together, and I think Maddie says it's the year prior. They're watching old horror movies at Maddie's place. Wally tries to get them, like tries to grab them and like wake them up, but we learned that they are trapped in their good memories and that it's easy to get stuck, but you can break out if you're listening, which is, oh my god, it's even crazier because it's like, I'm sure we've all like heard things before that weren't like there, like when you're really tired or something. So I think this is trippy because Maddie's mom is in the memory, and she's like talking to her, but in real life, like not in the wilderness, but in real life when Maddie's like in that trance and Sandra's at the hospital, like telling her to wake up. Maddie can hear that, but she's getting confused because her mom is also talking to her in her memory, so she can't tell like what's going on. Maddie quickly though she realizes it's not real, And she tells Simon, like, hey, this is not real. We got to get out of here. But Simon's eyes turn gray like they were before they got into the memory. And Maddie can hear Wally, and she sees his reflection in the TV. She grabs Simon's hand and tells him that they need to get out of there. And they break through by like smashing through the TV. When they're out, she grabs him and tells him who he is and that he lost himself trying to save her. She tells him to come back to his life and to come back to his family. And then, okay, so he remembers and he comes back. His eyes morph back to his normal eyes. It's him. Thank God. So Simon is safe now. So Wally asks Janet if they can just use one of their doors to get back, and Janet says, yeah, you could if you know where yours are. We've been trying to look for ours, and we haven't been able to find them. This is when Maddie's dad, Dave, appears. And again, like with Wally, when she was able to hug Wally, and then at the end of the episode, when she's able to hug Simon, it's here where she's able to hug her dad. So it's very I don't want to say comforting, but it's very nice to see that like these people that she thought she like lost and was having a really hard time with in the beginning of this episode, or even throughout the season, it is nice to know that by this point in time, she is able to hug and talk to other people that she thought she lost. So Maddie's dad is calling for her, and she's like, is that real, or is that like also in my head? And Wally's like, no, I definitely heard that. And so they spot Dave, and that's when Maddie and Dave hugs, and he says he's going to take her home. And they all walk towards his door, and Maddie's necklace lights up and it opens. So her and Simon step in, and she's like, come on, everyone, let's go. But the second her and Simon step in, it shuts. So, like, her dad, Wally, Dawn, Janet, they're all stuck in the crossover or whatever. So it goes to Maddie and Simon falling through a black void, which I think was also pretty cool because it kind of like is full circle to the beginning of this season with Maddie going back into her body. But I also just think that some scenes in this show, I mean, I know they did it in other shows, especially in like Euphoria, where it's like some parts of this kind of feels like a music video, but it's fine. I think it's fine. So she's back and she wakes up and she thanks her mom for helping her. And Maddie asks where Simon is, and Xavier was, just glad it worked. This is when he gets the call from Nicole about the fire at the school. Maddie's mom tells her to do what she has to do, but to be safe. So this is when Maddie and Xavier go to the school and they confront Van Height and have that whole confrontation. So in the last couple seconds of the episode, we watch Sandra clean a cleaver as Maddie gets home. Sandra walks to close the curtains after telling Maddie to have a good night. And in the reflection of the window, we see Van Height. So this has to happen at the school, right? Like when Maddie, because my God, this is gonna be fucking crazy. Okay, like not only did the girls have to deal with Simon this season, but imagine it being Maddie's mom. Like I can see where they're going for. I think they want Sandra to go through that so she understands Maddie more, and her and Maddie can kind of have that bond. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's at the school because that's where we last saw Van Height. But who knows? Because his soul seems to travel. But I think it would make sense to me that because we hear Sandra call for Maddie, I think it would make sense that Van Height saw Sandra call for Maddie and was like, "Ooh, that's her mom," and went over and snatched her body. I just wanted to save this afterlife or the afterlife bit for the last part because I found it the most interesting. We learned to never cross the river, and we saw that Simon was about to go to his mom, and I wondered if that was like a trap. I wonder what was on the other side of that river is the reason that Simon got trapped to begin with. Um, because I don't really think we figured that out. Like, we don't really know exactly how Simon crossed the veil the first time to get into the afterlife. Because we know that he's back now in real life. Um, but I just feel like whatever's on the other side of that river is what was trying to like get him so it can like possess him or whatever. I'm really excited to see what's more down the river. um, yeah, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but when they were in the afterlife, when they were in the wilderness and stuff, they did see the pastor and the children, because the pastor did die when that wooden log fell on him and killed him. So, yeah, lots to look forward to going into season 4. We have all the best characters trapped in uh, the crossover, the wilderness afterlife, and then we have our school ghosts. We have Yuri, Martin, uh, Rhonda, Charlie, Quinn, who are all able to leave the school now, and my God, and then we have Van Height possessed into Maddie's mom's body, and then we have whatever's going on the other side of the river. So, oh, and the whole reflection thing. Like, I feel like we're gonna have a plot line where, um, oh my God, like imagine Sandra goes, like she takes her door, goes to the wilderness, looks in the mirror, and just like refuses to come out, and is like trapped. So Van Height like is able to have her body. I don't know. I think I'll have to make another one of these, just like what I think is going to happen in season 4. Um, they have to have a season 4. Like, this show is popping off. It definitely isn't in the same state it was when I watched it when season 1 came out. Like, a lot more people are giving it attention, and it's good. It deserves it. So, yeah, that was School Spirits season 3. Probably my favorite one. I think, honestly, season 1 is, like any season 1, it is like the grounds that holds the show. But really, like, I feel like every season the show just keeps getting better and better. Like, honestly, my ranking probably is 3-2-1 or 2-3-1. I really like season 2, but season 3 is like really topping it with like knowing that the characters we thought we wouldn't be able to see anymore because they took their doors, especially Janet at the beginning of this season. Like, I was so heartbroken. Like, I thought we were never going to see her again. Um, which I understood because I was like, oh, I mean, her story's over. Like, she wanted to leave the school. Now she's leaving the school. But I'm really glad she's back because I feel like season 3 kind of like had a hard time without her. I mean, it had Martin, and the other ghosts aren't stupid. They figured it out, but I feel like it would have been cool to see Janet figure out all the white eye stuff and the whole church scar and everything. But maybe that would have been too easy. But yeah, I'm really excited for School Spirit season 4. I need to write down predictions and stuff for it. Um, but I'm also going to talk about Yellow Jackets because clearly it's on the brain consistently. So, bye.